Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And I am feeling good today because there is the sweet aroma of tequila bouncing off my microphone back up my nasal passage.
It's not a margarita episode, though. There was no margarita mix. So it was just a tequila transaction for Carly today.
So let's see how this goes, because we also greatly changed the order in which things happened in our notes. Maybe a struggle.
I think it makes sense like this, the way that we're going here.
I feel confident about the organization.
Yeah.
Just not that my memory will keep up with where everything was moved to. But this isn't an episode that I would ever go back and watch a second time.
Here's the thing. There wasn't a lot of new information. This was episode 19, season 19, episode 19, because we missed that part. Yeah, missed that part. So, Behold, I Come Like a Thief is the name of the episode. And I feel like we were robbed in a lot of ways. If we're talking about it that way. I wasn't expecting to just see a clip show episode. I don't think those are necessary, but sometimes they do this at certain points in the season where they feel like they need to catch us up and remind us of all of these times past. Yeah, we know. Those are good episodes. We go back and we rewatch those on a regular basis. So we're very up to date with all of that information.
They always show us the shit that we could quote. You don't even need to play the flashback footage.
You're showing me flashback footage of the Flea High move, one of the most iconic episodes in this entire series.
Please, bitch.
Come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
It was an all-time record, I'm pretty sure, too. There was a lot of sepia tone.
Every
time I looked up.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got confused at one point where I thought, wait, is this new footage? Why is it all hazy? It wasn't the tequila.
No, I don't think so.
That was an editing choice.
Maybe. But the TLC description for this one is Janelle and Meri join forces to finally get answers about Coyote Pass. But Kody is having doubts about letting it go. Christine takes another step towards independence and buys a vacation rental in Moab.
I am so beyond over watching the David and Christine footage. I'm starting to regret getting past the wedding.
Yeah, we thought the wedding was going to be the end of it. We thought it was going to be smooth sailing after this.
No, I think I figured out what it is. Every week, they're just trying to prove to us why David is so much better than Kody. And we didn't need the evidence laid out. We've been watching it. We watched her be married to Kody Wynn Brown. We know.
I mean, the other stuff is that they're trying to thread through it with Isabel and stuff too. And she's still tentative, but she's warming up to him. Okay, can we build that out a little bit more? I don't need this passing.
Trying to pick back up on something that they talked about that you really didn't care about because you got married anyway.
Yeah, that you brushed aside. It wasn't that big of a deal at the time. And so now we're circling back on that. It just feels like if it's an oversight, it's an oversight. We're way past that point. The Bible verse this week is Revelation 16:15. Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who stays awake, keeping his garments on, that he may not go about naked and be seen exposed, like Kody in the prairie dog plague pond. Maybe we could take those words, heed that advice a little bit more, apply it to some other aspects of our life too.
And I think the thievery already took place with Coyote Pass.
I think Cody's trying for some more thievery, is what it's looking like. So this is something that they have to keep an eye on.
I've got a little ditty that I wrote.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear it. Little ditty about Kody and Robyn.
No, that's how Angie introduced her horrific text message that she sent about Bronwyn?
Yeah, that was
about Bronwyn.
Brutal.
All right. TLC subjects us to another episode of the new adventures of fake Christine. Meri and Janelle solidify their alliance. Kody and Robyn stage a Norman Rockwell-inspired scene on Coyote Pass.
Which one, though? Is it the Thanksgiving one? Which Norman Rockwell?
Yeah, where they're gathered around the table, but this time we're gathered around the blue picnic table. We've got Brianna roasting A wiener in the fire.
That's the best place to roast them.
Little Solomon collecting rocks.
Ari bringing handfuls of worms to the table, I guess. It's a little different.
They're really trying to convince us they do things together when the cameras aren't here. And then when the cameras are here too, because look at us. We're just like this wholesome family. Everyone else was the dysfunction.
And I will say, this is criminally out of place as far as the timeline would go.
We haven't had a timeline check in a while.
This is bad. This is end of summer is what they're talking about. So are they talking about end of summer 2022?
Yeah. Wait. 23.
Or 23? Okay. Yeah. 23. Oof.
Kody and Robyn on Coyote Pass. That's the end of summer 2023. Christine and Janelle and Meri, they're in January/February of 24. I'm not going to come for them for the timeline because it's telling a cohesive story. I honestly think that what happened is Kody listed the property way before I don't even know if they're ever going to find out that he did that.
It's been a year and a half and they haven't really talked about it.
Shall we get into it? Let's get this pony into the pond water.
In the prairie dog plague pond.
You want to start with Christine and David? Just get them out of the way.
Yeah, we might as well knock it out here. But you got Christine and David. They're driving to their Airbnb, recently purchased Airbnb in Moab. They're talking themed rooms for this Airbnb on the way. They are spitballing. They are coming up with ideas, business ideas, even though all of the furniture and everything is already packed in the back of the truck that they're driving down there. So it seems like this was probably something that they already crafted.
Oh, that's a good point. They've already got all of the decor in this U-Haul, so it's not really a surprise that there's going to be a shrimp room and a giraffe-themed room.
That was David's suggestion, was a shrimp room. And Christine is kind of confused by this at first because are you meaning like shrimp things, that stuff that is smaller than it's supposed to be?
I have to tell you,
like like an Alice in Wonderland room.
Okay, my mind didn't go there, but I'm glad
either.
that yours did. You just explained that. I would never have come up with that.
That was Christine. Christine, her first guess of that, her first take at that was clarifying. Are you talking about shrimp, the animals, the creatures, or just shrimp thing you want to have smaller things in a room? And that's the theme.
How much better would it have been if they just put tiny things in the room?
Oh, they could have had those little tiny hands. The little tiny hands that you can
that
get
you put on your
stuff.
finger?
Yeah, that you put on your finger, and then you can put them in your sleeves. The little tiny hands. That'd be great.
Just lots of little tiny things made out of clay. Don't act like you don't know. You've gone down a TikTok rabbit hole watching people make like an entire kitchen with a refrigerator full of items that are just made out of clay and they're all microscopic. Have you never seen this?
Oh, okay. No.
My For You page is different.
No. It's the little eggs and they cook over the little candle in the oven and the stovetop there. Yeah, I've seen those. That's old school though. I think I saw those on YouTube.
Whatever.
It's old stuff. Little tiny stuff.
Maybe I'm watching Instagram Reels. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding. Please don't come for me. I deleted my Instagram.
Same thing.
Well, I've never seen a piece of decor with shrimp on it. Like, I can't remember a time that I've seen a duvet cover with shrimp or even a decorative throw pillow.
Shrimp aren't cute. They're not comforting. They're not really sought after in a visual aesthetic, I don't think.
I couldn't tell that he was serious. I thought he was joking.
Bubba Gump shrimp? So, I mean, like, the Forrest Gump reference, they were quoting Forrest Gump when they were talking about it too, even though they didn't want to attribute it to that.
That's definitely David's favorite movie.
You think so?
1,000%. You don't think that he watches Forrest Gump like once a week?
Once a week?
He just falls asleep on the couch to it like every Sunday afternoon when football's not on.
It's on. Yeah. If it's on TV, I'm going to watch it. That's just what happens.
I'm so glad, though, they're on the same page to get this house, to have this B&B, because it's been Christine's dream for like a really long time. It's been no one else's dream on this show to run a bed and breakfast. It's just been Christine's, and she's really pushed for it, but it just never came to fruition within the family.
Yeah, because we already did that idea, and we already shat on it once, and it was Mary's dream, and she's living in it now.
She was really into the idea of having the bed and breakfast. Christine was.
Christine was excited.
For like a minute.
Had all of these ideas. There were suggestions. She was encouraging Meri to come up with the business ideas behind it so that she wouldn't have to, and then she could just have her mom work there. I think that was mostly what Christine was very excited about, the proposal of that.
And they offered to help decorate. So she's been waiting a really long time to come up with themed rooms. Can I just say, Meri right now is thinking, thank God I didn't go into this as business partners with these people, because she also would have animal-themed rooms in Parowan.
Yeah, Meri, maybe it was a blessing that they passed on the financial input, because now you did it on your own. You funded the B&B purchase in Parowan, so you get to make the decisions on what goes in the rooms. You can just pick which ghosts you're going to keep around and then sage the rest. It's just a tiny ghost, though. It's a shrimp ghost.
I want to go back in time, have it work out so that Meri has to work with the rest of the family on setting up the B&B, and I want to know how it would have been. Can we have a version of Sister Wives where it's like the alternate timeline?
Well, we know that they wouldn't have drafted up any sort of documentation. They wouldn't have any sort of legal ramifications for anyone. It would all just be done in good faith. It's all just everyone's doing business on the honor system here in the Brown family.
They could have come to a compromise for the different rooms. Like it would be patriotic themed animals.
Like eagles?
Like one room would be an eagle.
Okay, what would the other rooms be? If one room of the patriotic animals theme is eagle, what's your next one?
Google. What are
no Google. No. Patriotic animals?
A turkey. There could be a turkey themed room.
A turkey is a patriotic bird?
Like it's just a bison?
Bison, I could give you that.
All right. So a bald eagle, a bison. How many rooms were there? There were only 4 rooms.
We
need 2 more animals.
A cougar?
Now I'm getting pictures of patriotic animals. A golden retriever holding an American flag. Is there anything more patriotic than that?
Yeah, Labradoodle holding an American flag.
All right, we got off course. But I think that it's something that could have happened at the B&B. But we're moving on in the conversation. The other big thing that Christine has recently done, because she is so productive now that she got rid of Kody, she went and she changed her name. She went all the way down to the Social Security office and went in there and filled out the paperwork, and she is now Christine Woolley.
Not Woolley Brown? She's just Christine Woolley now?
Oh, I don't know.
I think publicly she's Christine.
She's got to keep Brown for her career, much like Kim Kardashian.
And that's where the similarities begin and end between Christine and Kim Kardashian.
They're driving down the highway, and Christine starts to realize the surroundings look familiar.
I think I've changed a flat here before.
She's just gripping the door of this U-Haul because she knows at some point the tire is going to blow out. She's starting to have flashbacks.
Flea-high flashbacks.
Non-flashbacks on this highway. She's been pulled over for hours on the side of the road here at one point in time. I don't know that I believe that she hasn't driven on this road again since that happened.
That seems like a stretch.
I did do a little research, and I'm pretty sure that if she drove from the Lehigh/Salt Lake City area down to Flagstaff, that she would have taken this stretch of highway. I'm no expert on the transportation system.
Well, what about between Vegas and Flagstaff?
No, it's a whole nother state. You're in a whole nother state. Also, I turned my phone off so I can't pull the maps up.
Okay.
So this is completely by memory.
Good. Very productive. It's like she mentioned last week. There's 2 different routes. There's the mountain pass that you can take, or you can go through the mines of Moria, which is a lot further. It's more dangerous. It's more tread. You got to
tread lightly. Check the tread on your tires.
You might awake the Balrog. Is what I'm getting at.
I think that's the way they went.
The mines of Moria. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nope.
It's fine.
We get to Moab safely, and they arrive at the Love Shack.
The Love Shack.
That's what it is, right?
Pretty much.
It's their getaway, their weekend getaway to
Love Shack, baby.
Truly is old enough to stay home alone for a couple of nights.
Well, Isabel's there too, so yeah. Oh, maybe. No,
she's not living with her, but they could have a little sister night. Pop some popcorn, watch The Parent Trap.
Watch Forrest Gump. Trying to get to know David better. I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is.
He knows what drywall is because we're about to walk in this place and Christina's getting nervous. Like, what if there are imperfections in the walls? David is going to be upset that she bought this particular place.
I'm never going to hear the end of it because she's still framing this as if she's married to Kody Brown, but she's not. So I think she hasn't really made that distinction between her former husband, her ex-husband, Kody, and her current husband, David.
I kind of feel like it would be an exciting opportunity for David to put his mark on the B&B if there was something that needed to be repaired. So he's looking around, but everything seems to be intact.
Everything?
Everything attached to the walls.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everything related to the B&B. Yes.
That was a bummer. I kind of wanted to watch David fix something. Like, I need a tortilla.
A tortilla?
I need.
Yeah, that tequila is hitting.
I need a tortilla showing me
tortilla
how to fix
drywall?
The drywall tape. Like, I could use that. We have a lot of areas where the drywall, we need the tape fixed.
Yeah, we're not going to use that.
Can David start? We know he has a Wooly fans, but can he get on Cameo? Because I need like a 5 to 7 minute cameo where he shows me how to do that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that.
Why not?
Maybe if you ask Christine, and then if she's with David, she could ask him.
Okay, that's my new dream.
Drywall advice from David via Cameo?
Yeah, I think if we sent it under Surviving Reality, that she could actually do it, because when we had Sister Wives in the name of the podcast, she couldn't say it.
That's been the excuse previously. Yes, that is correct.
Let's see what they do now. All I want is a fucking drywall tortilla. Will you give me one?
Tutorial. Is that the word you're trying to say?
Yeah,
okay.
I know I'm saying tortilla at this point.
This is good.
I kind of want to go to Taco Bell now, though.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
This is going to be an income-producing investment for her, and she wanted to do things like this when she was part of the family, but everyone else kind of took the lead on spending all the family's money in frivolous ways.
Closed mouths don't get fed, Christine. If you don't speak up about what your hopes and dreams are, then there's not going to be anything left for you.
To be fair, I don't think that if she had spoken up and said, I want to open a B&B where we have the rooms like a safari or an underwater adventure, because one room is an octopi room.
Octopussy?
I think that's where they film the Wooly fans content.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
That's my theory. I was confused.
I hope that's not the shrimp room.
David's regretting that idea. He was a bit disappointed that the room was on the smaller side.
That's why it's a shrimp room.
Exactly.
It's a small room. It fits the theme. It's on theme. That's why you need to have small things in here so the room itself doesn't feel so small.
We need an optical illusion. Maybe they need to put more mirrors on the walls.
An octopole illusion.
A what?
Octopi? Octopole. Optical illusion. But Christine's just amazed with the leaps and bounds that she's made in her life and that women have in general.
For now.
Owning property in her name. Yeah, for now. Owning property in her name for now. Having appreciating assets. That's a totally new experience for her. Normally, if you invest in a business, you sink money into it until you go bankrupt. And that has been her business experience so far. So this is all new to her. When the pluses outweigh the minuses, what do you do then?
That's just about when Janelle comes a knocking, because she's here to check the books.
Oh, yeah, that must be it. Well, she doesn't come a knocking, actually, though, because she doesn't knock.
She just swings that door wide open, which that's a brave thing to do in a house with Christine and David. We saw them at the wedding in public.
Yeah,
What do you think's happening behind closed doors?
We need to keep the doors closed, is what we're getting at. You don't just barge in unannounced. You have to make some noise. I think we've made that joke before, though, is that the Browns are the only Mormons who don't knock, because that was a big issue when they were sharing a house, or that is their concerns about going into Biggie Housey, because there is no privacy. People just barge into your private space. Robyn has set clear, defined boundaries that she wants people to knock. Always knock.
She gets startled easily.
Do you think that's why?
No, I think it's because she has to pick up all the bags that she keeps by the front door and all the QVC boxes. She has to put those away, throw them in the garage.
Yeah, otherwise you won't be able to open the door. Maybe that's why she started buying so many things. It was to barricade the door so people couldn't just walk in. It's your fault that I'm buying. If I'm spending so much money on QVC, blame yourself if I'm spending so much on QVC, okay?
Do you think that's why she had the gumball machines behind the front door in Vegas? She was just trying to keep that thing closed.
Yeah, just in case of an emergency, she could always shatter it, and then gumballs would scatter everywhere across the floor, and then an intruder wouldn't be able to chase after her. It'd be a very Scooby-Doo sort of scenario.
It's a security system. That's girl math. Look, that's why I had to make this purchase, Kody.
It's the RDP, not ADP. It's a Robyn dumb purchase is what it is.
What the fuck? Oh, also, Meri, she didn't like people not knocking on her door. Is that a surprise?
Well, she does a courtesy knock. So she's one to judge. She doesn't like when other people don't knock, but she also doesn't really knock. Not a full knock.
She's not in the habit.
She'll knock while she enters, which...
She lives alone, Corey.
I guess that's the big difference.
She's like Lady Godiva when she's home alone. She's just sprawled out on the Titanic couch.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
Just exposed. What if somebody just... That's why Kody never knocked. That's why Kody opened the doors at all times in Meri's house.
Yeah, I'm just picturing the birth of Venus now.
Coming out of the shell. I feel like that would fit in the shrimp room.
But a very small version of it. It's got to be very tiny.
The clam bake themed room. That's a callback.
Uh-oh. All right. Moving on.
I'm getting hot in here.
Moving on. We've got the moving crew. It's a bunch of family. Christine's kids, David's kids. We got cousins. We got everybody.
They're going to get this place operational in one day flat.
5 hours.
That's impressive.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. It was a whole U-Haul full of stuff.
It made me think of that time that we moved from one building to the building next door, and we had to walk every item over there. And if we had a train of people, that would have been so much faster.
I think why it was so hard was because it was high rise. We were up on like the 15th floor on the one building.
I think it was stupid. That's what it was. It was just stupid.
It was dumb. Definitely dumb.
You realize how many things you own when you have to tote them individually over to a new place.
Not recommended.
The whole point of this, we're going to talk about Isabel. She's starting to like David. She's really warmed up to him, especially in this experience today because they're assembling furniture.
But this is when you can really enjoy David's presence, is when something goes wrong. He doesn't freak out and whine and complain and cry about it like Kody would. He just kind of figures out what the problem is and then forges ahead. He's going to go ahead and work on that solution. He's a real go-getter type. And way better than Kody. Did I mention that he's better than Kody?
It would have taken me like 5 hours just to assemble the one thing that he was putting together.
Well, if it's missing 2 pieces, yeah, that's going to be difficult.
I probably would have broken down, cried, put it back in the box, and gotten upset. I would have had a Kody Brown tantrum. No, I take it back. I take it back because what Kody would have done was he would have freaked out. He would have gotten upset. Then he would have decided that he can fix it. But it would have taken him about 4 hours to locate the things that he was going to use and come up with a plan. And then he would completely destroy the piece of furniture in the process of trying to fix it.
And then at the end of that, after he has destroyed it in his customization that he was going to work around it, the 2 pieces that he was looking for would fall out of the box.
That's exactly it. And we watched that happen to him. When we go back to an earlier season when he's trying to hang Janelle's TV on the wall and he goes around to every single house trying to look for tools and what he needed was there the entire time. Watching that old footage of him, it was weird. Even his voice has changed over time.
Well, yeah, because that's where my Kody voice comes from, is a few seasons ago. Old Kody.
It's gotten darker and devoid of joy.
He's slower, gruffer, rougher. and definitely not happy. He still turns it on. He'll kick it into high gear every once in a while, but it's just not the same.
No. This is the point in the episode where they showed us so many flashbacks, and the only one that I was overjoyed to see was the comment about not selling frumpy t-shirts with my sister wives closet, because we know that Janelle says has been very successful.
That's a whole business. It doesn't cheapen the brand. It is the brand.
She's making more off of t-shirts than she is off of Tata Farms.
Oh boy, we did get to see her spitballing on ideas for Tata Farms. She soft launched the name with Christine and David, but didn't really go over that well. Plus, it was too late to change it because they already went with it.
But the people who have come up with the shrimp room, they're confused about Tata Farms.
Tata? That doesn't make sense.
I don't think I can adapt to that.
Shrimp I get. Shrimp makes sense. But I will give Janelle credit where credit is due. Tata is better than Loplolly or whatever it was, the name of the tree that they actually thought about using. And
Loplolly Farms.
Whoever they were working with was like, please don't name it that. Nobody's going to know how to spell that.
I think there are going to be a lot of people who don't put Tata Farms into the GPS correct either.
Yeah, Tater Farms is a close alternative. You better grab that domain too.
They had one interesting conversation here. I hate the Christine and David seeds, man.
Very few and far between.
They talk about the financial decisions, which we all always look forward to when they spill a little tea on that. And part of the whole background on Christine not being able to be an independent person with her own businesses is the fact that they always did things by committee. And they also spent money essentially by committee, where they were aware of all the purchases that were being made, all of the bills that were being paid. And then somewhere along the way, that seemed to have stopped. And more recently, Kody was just pulling money out of bank accounts and spending it without running it by anybody.
So that's just something that Janelle noticed because, again, Janelle does not have final say on the finances. She does not get to direct and steer what's happening with each dollar and where that is allocated. She's just seeing this happen because she's just here to observe and report, basically. She's a security guard for their bank account.
She mentioned that she's just taking the transactions down and sending them to their CPA. So she's seeing this like long after the money's gone.
Yeah, it's way too late. There's nothing else you can do about that.
I would have started changing the passwords on the bank accounts at some point. No, you know what I would have done? Set up a notification so that I saw when money was being transferred over a certain amount.
Or just any of them. Just so you know, you got to stay in the know.
He seemed ticked off about that, Kody, that she had insight into what was being spent because she had this responsibility. He seems so irritated whenever he has a responsibility, but that's what she was tasked to do. And then he's annoyed that she's bringing it up.
Well, it's wild to me that Kody would say in an interview where he's being asked about these purchases, I don't know why Janelle was so concerned about that. It's not her business.
It's her money.
Well, it's her money, and also it is her business because you have her doing the bookkeeping for your family. So she needs to know when transactions are happening.
Especially large ones.
If you don't want her to know that stuff, then you need to say, hey, Janelle, I'm going to take this off your plate. I'm going to take care of the bookkeeping. But you don't want to do that.
No.
Because you're lazy and idiot.
They are so lucky that they didn't let him do that after all these years. They would have been out of money a lot sooner.
Oh, yeah.
That's an episode I want to see where they sit down and go through the books. Get them on financial audit. Obviously, Janelle's not really trusting Kody a lot with everything that's transpired. And she's starting to pull together all the documents for her attorney. But, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff to prove. There's a lot of screenshots to take. There's a lot of documents that she's got to download and rename and save places and email over. It's almost like, is it worth it?
Well, since it's the majority of your livelihood at this point, I would say it is worth it. Yes, you need to keep fighting for that, Janelle.
Do you know how in-depth my documentation would have been before I even approached the attorney? I would have had text messages with dates, all the files neatly saved down. I'm coming armed to this conversation. I would have been baiting Kody into saying things over email. Although it seems like he just doesn't respond, so that doesn't really help. Read receipts on everything.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why she's gathering this documentation is she has to prove that they bought the land with their joint family funds, because the way the property is laid out, they're all just entitled to the parts that their names are currently titled on. But if she can prove that they use joint funds, then the attorney thinks they have a good chance of trying to get them to legally split the property equally, holding them to something legally.
Which this has always been confusing too, because then this is kind of another one of those responsibilities that Kody keeps complaining about, where he's frustrated with all of his roles and responsibilities related to the sale of Coyote Pass, but then he's also not willing to expand anybody else's access to it and having them added to the titles on the other plots so they can do things, because Cody's name is on every single piece of the land. So that's why he has to do all of this stuff, because he's majority owner of the land. So that's what Meri and Janelle keep pointing to. If you change the titling and make us all equal owners on all of it, then we could do some other stuff and take some of those things off your plate.
They're going to screw him over. He's not going to do that.
I know. So
that's why he won't do it.
His paranoia is at a peak at this point.
Janelle's over at Maddie's house in North Carolina, and Maddie's in the kitchen, and she gives her a little 5-minute warning that she's about to jump on a Zoom with Meri.
I'm surprised that Maddie didn't make her leave the house at that point and say, oh, that's interesting. You have to talk to Meri? Why don't you go to Starbucks or something? You're going to do a run?
Find an internet cafe or something. You're not going to talk to her in my home.
But no, it doesn't go that way. It's just Maddie excuses herself from the kitchen, doesn't want to be in the same room.
She kind of rolls her eyes. But they're on the same side, so it's a double-edged sword. Do they strongly dislike each other? Janelle denies that's the case, but for years they have. But now they have formed this new, it's not quite a friendship. Again, it's an alliance against Kody to get the money that they deserve out of Coyote Pass.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is what has happened.
Can we agree that Maddie was most definitely on the other side of the wall listening?
I don't know. I feel like she had to pop in her earbuds and just zone out with something else, because she can't even hear Meri's voice without getting ticked off.
I would have listened to everything. I need a debrief the minute that you hang up.
I don't know. Yeah, because I mean, based on their last conversation with Janelle and Meri, it did not go well. It was not very productive. Meri was still very much team Kody and Robyn and was kind of aligning with their interests, was still questioning Janelle and suspicious of Janelle's motives in this stuff, especially when Janelle's throwing out words like lawyer.
Liar.
They've
made a lot of progress, though, via email, because they're both realizing that Kody will not communicate with them. So they are forced to communicate with each other. And we're going to see if it goes well from here. If not, you can talk to my attorney.
Per my last email, what the fuck is going on? Is basically what Meri has been sending out on the email chains.
Circling back on my prior email, I would spell Kody and Robyn's names wrong at the beginning.
I don't know if she'd be able to get away with that at this point, though.
Kody with an I, Robyn with an I, just I's everywhere. We're getting rid of the Y's. They're a little spooked because more recently Kody emailed saying that he and Robyn have decided to sell.
We have decided.
We don't give a shit what you guys want to do because we've decided we're selling the property.
To sell the pond now.
They also want to sell the property, but they're just mad that Kody is assuming that they're in line with what he wants to do. He didn't even have a formal conversation with them.
Well, and it's hard to get a grasp because it sounds like whatever's going on in this email chain, Kody is rapid firing out his ADHD ideas too, where he's talking about a 6-4 split among stuff. That didn't make any sense. Nobody responded to that one. So then he came up with another solution, which was, hey, maybe we just sell the whole thing. And everybody seemed on board with that. So that's why they were kind of moving in that direction.
I don't know if they are all moving in the same direction. Because
but yeah, they need to get on the same page.
There is some disagreement over how the property was paid for. Meri and Janelle's side of the story is they used the family pot money to pay.
not Janelle's pot money.
Not Janelle's cannabis business money. But they used the money that they all pulled together to buy this property. And Kody is saying that is untrue. I had one piece, probably, if I had to guess, the piece with the pond on it, that he is now claiming he paid for 92% of out of his own funds. So I'll be damned if they think that we're going to evenly split everything when I put my money into that piece. Isn't that interesting? The man who later in the episode is going to decide that he would like to keep one plot, perhaps, now claims that he paid for one outright himself.
Well, 92% of it, which is a hefty majority.
This whole thing's been fucked from the beginning. Meri didn't really say much because she felt like she really wasn't in the position to be able to do that. But when she saw that her name was on one piece of property and that it was shared with Kody, was it Kody and Janelle?
I think so.
I think that that's her piece. That seemed kind of weird, especially coming out of everything that was going on with them thinking she was leaving with the B&B and the fallout from the catfish. Kind of felt like maybe he was attempting to plan something for down the road to screw her over.
How far back does the distrust go between Meri and Kody? That's asking a lot based on what we know from the show.
Like 33 years. If we're going to go back to the beginning.
I mean, from the start, from the top.
I do believe that Kody did that. None of them thought that Meri was even going to come to Flagstaff with them. So I think that that's why he made her a third owner on one lot.
A third of a quarter. That's 1/12 of Coyote Pass that Meri has claimed to legally.
If she had decided that she was going to leave, she would be legally entitled to a very small percentage of that.
It's less than 10%. Maybe that's the 8% that Kody used to pay the remainder of his 92% self-paid parcel.
Something in me just says that if it had gone down that way, that they would have united together, Kody, Robyn, Janelle, and Christine, and told a very different story about how the property got purchased, and Meri would have walked away with peanuts.
It is nice to see Meri and Janelle communicating that they are both a little suspicious now, and that it is probably a good idea to get lawyers involved. Defend your interest, because nobody is going to speak up on your behalf in any of these circumstances. So it's time to save your own damn self.
They're suspicious and litigious at this point.
It's about time.
Meri suggested that they go to Flagstaff and have an in-person conversation with Kody and Robyn, I'm sure on camera. And Janelle's so over it.
That's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to help with anything.
She's done it before. She has had lunch in the attic of Josephine's multiple times with Kody, and he hasn't done anything coming out of those conversations.
Does Meri think that her dropping off the check, hand delivering the check after her London trip to pay off Coyote Pass, did that help things along at all? I don't think it did. So why did you waste your time doing that?
They should have held that money ransom. I don't know if you can hold your own money ransom. They should have told him that they needed a contract. If we provide this money to pay off this property, you need to have the property retitled in this way by the state.
Because for
or
this
you
man,
owe me a fuck ton of interest.
Oh, yeah. And the lost amount. Yeah. Whatever else you're going to have for that. I think a contract would have been a good place to start. I think withholding that money and then using that as leverage, I feel like Kody would have been very betrayed by that and took that very personally if it did come to that. But also, he's the man who said repeatedly, I don't have the money to pay them out for this. I don't have the money. Yeah, and you don't have the money single-handedly to pay for the entire property that is in your name for all of these plots. So you wouldn't even have this land if we didn't put the money down on it. We wouldn't be here having this conversation to argue over it.
Yeah, that's true. It's an odd conversation to have about how the property originally got purchased when just a few months ago, they spent a lot more money paying off the rest of it.
It wasn't bought in full. It was not paid up from the moment that you signed that.
Do you think that that's what he means by 92% of one of the lots was paid with his money?
The down payment?
No, whatever they just finished paying.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know how Kody is girl mathing into the payments and how this is distributed across these 4 lots that his name is on all of them. So you should be responsible for the payment on all of those. And then you were not able to do that without the help of these other people. So why do you think that you have any claim to the land more than they do?
Because it was his dream, Corey.
Well,
Coyote Pass, well, it was really Robyn's dream.
It was Robyn's.
And this episode was Robyn heavy, talking about her relationship with her stepdad, Paul.
People are going to think we're sizes talking about Robyn heavy.
was trying to humanize Robyn. That's what I think that they were doing here.
Pity. It's pity. It's always the pity route that we have to feel bad for Robyn in these situations that she finds herself in. Even though I would say a lot of the circumstances that she's involved in, she's had a hand in setting some of those up. The move to Flagstaff and the tension that came from the family. A lot of that was at her behest.
And she planned the whole thing that's going down today. They are heading out to Coyote Pass because the picnic tables that her dad, Paul, built a long time ago, 10 years ago at this point, he built them before they moved into the Vegas houses, or like as a welcoming present, something for them to use outside in their backyards. And they have traveled with them all the way to Coyote Pass. And they've just been sitting out here, exposed to the elements. So today we're going to paint them.
We're long overdue for some picnic table care. So we're going to sand and scrape these down and get a fresh coat of paint on there to help seal them in.
They're literally making us watch paint dry. I just want to point out that that was the entire premise of this scene.
The basis, yeah, that we're left with at one point at the end of this segment. Yes, that was what was happening.
I felt really odd about the entire thing. Talking about Paul, showing all the times that he was in the background on the show.
Well, and in the front row on the show.
That's true.
The splash zone.
He made his way up to the front row for certain occasions. And then talking about the fact that he passed away in 2022.
I thought this was going to be one of those, they mentioned who it's from, who this person is, and then we kind of breeze on through the rest of the information. No, this is Paul, and then we get more backstory, and then more information, and then more information. So I wasn't prepared to have this kind of info dump of Paul at this point in time, but that's what we were left with.
No, I felt like, is there a quiz that I'm going to have to take? Do I need to remember this?
Some things did make sense that they were able to share, like Paul was a surveyor in Las Vegas, which makes a whole lot more sense why Kody doesn't want to pay anybody in Flagstaff to do this with their land, because Robyn's dad was doing it for free.
It raises a lot more questions for me about if Kody knows something about surveying land, or this land in particular, that maybe makes him not want to do it. I don't know. It's an odd connection.
Well, also just he's not a surveyor in that state or in that county or in that region. So
he's not a surveyor anymore.
Okay. Well, I know, but like,
I don't think he can help them with this.
No, I'm not saying right now. Not for this one. They bought the land pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Dude's been out there. So I think all of the information that they have at this point is from Paul.
You think so?
It's the word of Paul.
Kody made a really weird comment about how Robyn didn't feel safe anymore after Paul passed away.
I thought Robyn didn't feel safe during COVID. That was Robyn feeling safe in the world still?
I mean, none of them really. It goes back to this family's obsession with the word safe. They're not safe with each other. It's not safe to have this conversation. It's not safe to use these words. It's not safe to exist in a world. Generally, that's really Robyn's experience.
Well, I think it's just these circumstances that Robyn finds herself in where there were difficult times, and then that's the reason why I feel this way. So now she's attributing this. I feel like she didn't feel safe in the world during COVID. So to say that 2022, when Paul passed away, that's magically when Robyn had this big shift and she didn't feel safe in the world anymore. I disagree with that.
I'm really conflicted because on one hand, like, I understand the experience of losing a parent and how that makes you feel. And I can understand, even being an adult, that you would still feel almost very childlike in losing someone that you felt like was a protector to you. But Kody being the one to bring it up is what made me think it goes back to the Robyn. Robyn needs to be saved. I'm Robyn's protector now. I'm the one who makes sure that she's safe around everyone and in whatever situation. I was wondering if that's why he doubled down so hard about protecting Robyn from the accusations from the kids.
Yeah, and I mean, for Robyn to say she doesn't feel safe, I think it's different if you have family members who are pointing things out that you are doing that is hurtful or unfair or biased, and trying to hold you accountable. I think accountability is different than vulnerability or safety in that aspect. I'm sure that Robyn feels threatened when people try to hold her accountable, and she doesn't like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's unsafe. I would argue that it's irresponsible to let unfair behavior go unquestioned in this sort of family dynamic in a polygamist family.
This really needs to be picked apart even further, but it kind of seems like Robyn doesn't understand that accountability doesn't need to be connected to intention, because I think that when she's being accused of things, she feels like her intention wasn't to do something, so she shouldn't be held accountable for how it played out.
Yeah, and it makes her feel yucky. But then that's the point, though, is that a person is telling you, hey, what you did made me feel yucky. And then that's where Robyn is then interpreting, oh, you're saying that I'm a bad person because I made you feel yucky. No, that's not it. So she's not really getting the point. And then these perceived threats are not actually what she thinks they are. Does that make sense?
It's not healthy to think that people are they're being threatening or challenging you because they want to have an honest dialogue about things that have happened.
Well, and then the fact that, to continue to invalidate people who are telling you what their experience is and saying, no, that's not what happened, or no, you didn't feel that way. I think that's a bigger problem to address as well.
That was a really deep conversation. I think we were going to go there. Honestly, this was, it gets weirder because they're just hanging out on Coyote Pass, I guess justifying the purchase to themselves and trying to suck up all the time they can on it. I guess they're making sure that Janelle is not out there. They're keeping an eye out for surveyors.
They're seeing, if anybody has showed up on the land or if the RV is back, if anybody's been poking holes in the cistern. Any
other strange realtors that they're not familiar with.
I'm surprised that they went with blue for the color of the picnic tables. I thought for sure they were going to go with purple. It's kind of their vibe. It looked a little purple when they were applying it. It was darker, so before it dried, it did look a little purple.
I'm sure Robyn tried to buy the purple paint.
How close were we to getting a Lehigh call from Kody when they were done painting, though? Pretty close. It was a yeehaw, though.
Yeah, I never would have thought that is something that we could have heard come out of Kody.
Lehigh. It's been a while.
It's a celebration that he finally completed a project within a couple of hours. This was a one-day plan to come out here and do this. He didn't have to come back. He didn't run out of paint. It wasn't a total disaster.
Yeah.
And the kids are all out here helping, which is another sweet memory that Kody gets to have with Robyn and her kids.
So then once the paint dries, they are able to come back and enjoy weenie roast, maybe some s'mores, but none for Meri this time.
Brianna's getting real hot and bothered around that fire, man.
Oh, boy.
She has to get that aggression out. She's starting to split wood. She's like, hand me that axe.
Well, splitting wood is man's work. So I don't know if Brianna's going to be up for the task.
He needs help. There's a lot of trees that Kody has felled. Is that the right word?
Sure, yeah.
He's gotten them to fall out of the sky one way or another.
Thousands of trees that have been chopped down at Kody's hand on Coyote Pass.
He's going to need the help getting the rest of them split. He is definitely treating this like they are out there, they're pioneers on the land, and he is preparing for winter, and they need to cut enough wood to get them through the cold winter months, or they may not make it to spring.
Fun fact, it's never enough wood. You're never going to have enough. Never.
Maybe we'll come out here when it's nice, though, in the spring, when it starts to warm up. I'll get another coat on this table, a little varnish or something.
Oh, a coat of paint. Another coat of paint. Okay, yes.
And Robyn's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Robyn's like, let's check the timeline on that. Spring, you say?
I need to cash out on this property before then because I got big plans.
Well, at this point, they must have just paid it off. If this is summer of 23, they just paid it off in May. So they're really coming out to enjoy it here because it's theirs now.
It just didn't feel right when we weren't fully owners of it. They just engage in dangerous activities out here between flying off ATVs, and then they're swinging axes around. I'm still convinced that there is insurance on the property and they're trying to get a payout. That's how they're going to pay for the pond piece.
Trees that are being pulled into other trees as they're being chopped down, chainsaws and wedges flying around at people's faces.
Different than what you see flying at people's faces on Woolly fans.
It's true.
Being out here's got Kody thinking that maybe we'll sell the rest, but we'll keep the pond, the most lucrative, beautiful part of Coyote Pass.
This was the last spot that the family was all together and shared a happy moment. So Kody's not sure if he can just sell that. He's not a heartless monster. There's sentimental value here, and you can't put a price tag on that. But this is kind of what Janelle was talking about, where some days when you talk to Kody, he's all in the mood to sell it. Then there's other days where you talk to Kody, and he's completely against selling it. This seems like one of the days where Kody is completely against selling it because he's out here enjoying the land, and he's thinking back on all the great memories that he's had here.
It's based on whatever his most recent experience was. When Robyn got bucked off the ATV, he said, sell this thing.
Same thing.
I don't want
Chainsaw chopping the tree down wasn't a good day.
Can't come back here. That was at Robyn's house. That's why they ended up listing it.
He called Justin, the realtor, and was like, look, bro, we got to sell this thing fast. I'm willing to take a hit on it.
That's why he can't be the person in charge of having the conversations about selling it.
No, because that listing has been activated, deactivated, activated, deactivated.
The MLS is confused.
It doesn't know what to do. Coming soon? Maybe. I don't know anymore.
He asks Robyn if they can afford to keep the pond. I'm not sure that Robyn is the person that we should be going to for financial conversations. I know this is a monogamous relationship now, and we've lost Janelle, who was our pseudo CPA, but maybe we should get a professional. I don't think that she's good with keeping track of how much is in the account.
I feel like one of the two people in the relationship should know. That would be my argument.
I don't think it's her, though.
I don't think she knows. And so then he's asking her so that she just goes, well, no, I guess. And then he goes, whoa, Robyn told me we could. The bank approved me for $1.6 million.
They're on House Hunters all of a sudden.
That's what they said I could afford. That's not how that works.
I fell trees and I'm a secret shopper. That's Robyn and Kody's episode.
Our budget is $2.2 million.
She does clarify they could probably buy it, but then they're going to have to cut back in other places.
Like electricity and water and...
there are other things they could cut first. Maybe we stop buying artwork and statues and floral blouses.
Here's the trick. You're going to have to sell a lot of those items in order to buy the pond.
Oh, he doesn't want to do that anymore. Forget it.
Yeah, that's Robyn's retirement plan. We can't cash that out.
This turns into a conversation with the girls. I don't know if this is supposed to be an insight into Kody's obsession with having an estate and something to pass down to the kids, because they're imagining the future where the girls have children, that they have all these little grandkids running around. Don't we want them to run around the pond? Doesn't that sound like a sweet memory?
No, not really.
That we haven't experienced yet? No?
Robyn is grandbaby hungry, though.
Oh, she's been baby hungry. She's ready to get these girls married. Although that's not a prerequisite for her.
Well, it would be this time around. They have to do it the right way.
They're already at church. They're going to youth group. They're going to find someone, Robyn. Isn't that why youth groups exist?
Clock's ticking. Yeah. It's like Tinder for Christian kids.
For Lydia Plath.
Basically, that was same thing. Same experience over there.
Rora's thinking, 3 to 5 kids, just a normal amount. Not like in a big polygamous family. A normal monogamous sized family.
Brianna is setting her limit to 4, but it's a hard no on polygamy. Monogamy all the way. That's the only thing that we're sure of at this point.
That was the other thing. That was my other alt theory of why they're talking about this. Whenever they get the family together, they have to talk about how Rora and Brianna's entire worldview has been shattered by the ex-wives leaving Kody, and now they'll never consider polygamy.
Because they were seriously considering it before, and now it's out of the question. So I think they finally had a good enough excuse and a reason to tell Robyn where Robyn would stop asking them about it. by saying it was just so damaging when all the wives left. So I don't think this is going to work for me. And so now Robyn's able to let that go, because Robyn never really lets anything go until she gets a good enough reason for herself to let it go.
That's true.
I thought the other weird part was how Robyn was so proud of Aurora and Brianna for thinking for themselves about having all these kids and these monogamous families. Hasn't this been ingrained in them? Hasn't this been the entire roadmap for their whole lives? So that's not really thinking for themselves. That's them parroting back what you've told them their whole lives.
This all started with them making a joke about how they were like mini Robins helping her at the table. Yeah, they have been indoctrinated into what their life is supposed to look like. And maybe it doesn't include polygamy, but I'm pretty sure the rest is pretty close to the picture that they were supposed to embrace.
Praising Robyn's mom skills for bringing tongs so they could cook food in the fire.
That's something Kody wouldn't have remembered.
Honestly.
He would have had to knock a whole nother tree down to get some branches off of it.
That seems like an overkill on the resources that you would need.
It's just magic out here watching Brianna split wood and Saul skip rocks and Ari dig through the dirt and bring things.
The plague pond. Just prairie dog plague for the most part. Handfuls of plague all over the place. Yeah.
And we close out the episode with a wide shot of the family enjoying Coyote Pass, all doing their own thing, while Kody aggressively swings an axe overhead.
Maniacally continues chopping wood. And yeah, if you thought he looked like Jack Nicholson in The Shining before, when he would just stare that 1,000-yard stare every once in a while, once you compare the axe work side by side too, it's hard to dispute.
Next episode, on a road trip across the country to move Janelle to North Carolina, Christine, Janelle, and David stop at a bar where Janelle has her first shot ever. The fate of Meri's B&B is up in the air, and Kody and Robyn have a heart-to-heart with Aurora. I should have saved my shot for Janelle for next week.
Oh, we could do one next week, too.
Do it again.
Yeah, that's fine.
The end of this episode was a lot rougher than the end.
Was it?
I take it back. It was all rough, apparently.
It was all rough.
I meant, you know what I meant. No?
End to end, it was rough.
A few announcements before we go. You may be hearing some rumors. I should be able to do that. Channel my Meredith Marks right now.
Rumors.
That Sister Wives seems to fall off the TLC schedule after next week. And it does seem that we might be getting some sort of break, but we're waiting for more information on that.
We know they don't usually air something on the Super Bowl. That is on February 9th this year, so there won't be an episode that day, it looks like.
There never was going to be an episode
there
that
wasn't
day.
going to be an episode that day.
They don't historically do that.
And it looks like it's just a longer break than just the 1 week. So we'll have to stay tuned, see what the details end up shaking out to be. Hopefully we know by next week.
But know that even if Sister Wives isn't having new episodes releasing for a while for season 19, we'll still be putting something out here for you to listen to.
And we'll keep you updated in the Discord if we hear anything along the way.
But still come back next week, because it sounds like we have one more episode to go, and then we'll hopefully by then have more details on what the rest of the season will look like. Also, while we're waiting for more Sister Wives, you can listen to our other podcast, Surviving Reality, where we're finishing out Real Housewives of Salt Lake City this season. If you have not been watching it, you need to get on that. It's the best housewife show on TV, and it's only continuing to one-up itself every week with the reunion, which is really saying something compared to a Sister Wives tell-all.
There's been a lot of new information, though. That's why. It's current. It's up to date. There's a lot of things going on. So hopefully this means that whatever break we do get for Sister Wives, maybe we will get pretty close to actual real day sorts of timeline transitions that are happening here by the end of the season.
And we're also talking about season 3 of The Traitors, the US version. That is currently airing on Peacock. And Tom Sandoval, very controversial figure, bringing the comedic relief every week, unbeknownst to himself. It's getting crazy. There are traitors being treacherous towards one another.
The lies, the deceit, the betrayals. You can find all that and more over at Surviving Reality.
And as always, we have more content over on our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod. Check out the link in our bio for all the places you can find us. Thanks for listening. See you next time.